The Quran is not just a religious text, it serves as a guide for millions of Muslims around the world. This book aims to provide a detailed narrative of the Quran, exploring its teachings, historical context, and the life of the Prophet Muhammad. By examining its chapters, verses, and themes, we hope to offer a deeper understanding of its message and significance. Let us begin with the early revelations and the world in which they emerged. Before the birth of Islam, the Arabian Peninsula was a land marked by stark contrasts and complex social systems. Many of the inhabitants were Bedouins, nomadic tribes who roamed the vast desert landscape. Their survival depended on the availability of water and grazing land for their herds of camels, goats, and sheep. The harshness of the desert shaped their lives, while the tribal system offered a foundation of security and identity. Loyalty to one's tribe was of utmost importance, often leading to fierce rivalries and conflicts between tribes. The geography of the Arabian Peninsula played a crucial role in shaping the way of life for its people. Predominantly desert, the region was home to the Rub al-Khali, or the Empty Quarter, one of the largest sand deserts in the world. However, oasis towns such as those in Medina and Ta'if offered respite from the barren landscape, allowing for agriculture and permanent settlements. Mecca, situated in a narrow, barren valley, lacked natural resources, but its strategic location on caravan routes connecting Yemen to the Levant made it an important hub of trade. Mecca's economy thrived through its role in trade. Caravans transported goods like spices, incense, silk, and luxury items from distant lands such as India and China to the Mediterranean markets. This bustling trade brought wealth to the city, especially to leading families of the Quraysh tribe, who also held the role of custodians of the Kaaba, an ancient sanctuary that housed numerous idols representing the gods and goddesses worshipped by the various tribes of Arabia. The Kaaba made Mecca a significant center for pilgrimage and commerce, drawing people from across the region. Socially, the Arabian Peninsula was characterized by tribal affiliations and a strong code of honor that guided behavior. Tribal leaders, or sheikhs, wielded considerable authority, and loyalty to the tribe often took precedence over broader societal concerns. Feuds and conflicts between tribes were common, perpetuated by the principle of retaliation, an eye for an eye. In such a society, women and children were often treated as property, and practices like female infanticide were prevalent. Religiously, the region was diverse, but predominantly polytheistic. Each tribe had its own deities, with the Quraysh tribe worshipping Allah alongside numerous lesser gods. The Kaaba contained over 360 idols, each representing different deities revered by the tribes. Among the most prominent deities were Hubal, Al-Lat, Al-Uzza, and Manat. In addition to polytheism, there were small pockets of monotheistic faiths in the region. Jewish and Christian communities had established themselves, particularly in the southern parts of the peninsula like Yemen, and in the north, where Christian tribes existed. Zoroastrianism, the dominant religion of the nearby Persian Empire, also had a small presence. Moreover, a group of monotheists known as the Hanifs rejected idol worship and followed a vague form of Abrahamic monotheism. Muhammad ibn Abdullah was born in 570 CE in Mecca, in a year known as the Year of the Elephant, due to a failed invasion of Mecca by the Abyssinian ruler Abraha. Muhammad's father, Abdullah, passed away before his birth, and his mother, Amina, died when he was just 6 years old. Orphaned at a young age, he was raised by his grandfather, Abdul Muttalib, a respected elder of Mecca. However, after his grandfather's death 2 years later, Muhammad came under the care of his uncle, Abu Talib. As Muhammad grew up, he accompanied Abu Talib on trading journeys to Syria, where he gained experience in commerce and broadened his worldview. Despite the hardships of his early life, Muhammad earned a reputation for his honesty, integrity, and trustworthiness, becoming known as Al-Amin, the trustworthy. At the age of 25, Muhammad entered the service of Khadija bint Khuwaylid, a wealthy widow and successful businesswoman. Impressed by his diligence and character, Khadija proposed marriage, and the union was a harmonious one, lasting for 25 years. Khadija's emotional and financial support would later prove crucial during the early years of Muhammad's prophethood. Muhammad was known for his contemplative nature and his growing dissatisfaction with the moral corruption and social injustices of Meccan society. He began seeking solitude in a cave on Mount Hira, just outside of Mecca, where he would spend long periods meditating and reflecting on the state of the world and his people. This spiritual quest set the stage for a momentous event that would change his life and the course of history. In the year 610 CE, during one of his retreats to the cave, Muhammad experienced a life-altering event. While meditating, the angel Gabriel appeared to him and commanded him to read or recite Iqra. Muhammad, being unlettered, responded with confusion, insisting that he could not read. Gabriel embraced him tightly and repeated the command twice more, revealing the first verses of what would become the Quran. Read in the name of your Lord who created man from a clinging substance. Read, and your Lord is the most generous, who taught by the pen, taught man that which he knew not. Overwhelmed by fear and confusion, Muhammad rushed home to Khadija, seeking comfort and reassurance. Khadija, believing in the truth of his experience, took him to her cousin, Waraka ibn Nawfal, a learned Christian who had knowledge of the scriptures. Waraka confirmed that Muhammad had indeed been chosen as a prophet, similar to the prophets before him, and that the being who appeared to him was Gabriel. The early phase of Muhammad's prophethood was marked by a period of introspection. For a time, revelations ceased, and Muhammad experienced great anxiety, but the revelations soon resumed, confirming his role as the messenger of God. Encouraged by Khadija and supported by close family members and friends, Muhammad began to share the message of Islam quietly and discreetly. The first converts to Islam were from his inner circle, those who had witnessed his character and were moved by the divine message. Khadija was the first to accept Islam, followed by his young cousin, Ali ibn Abi Talib, who was only 10 years old at the time. Abu Bakr, a close friend and respected merchant, also embraced the faith and played a crucial role in spreading the message. Other early believers included Zayd ibn Haritha, a freed slave, and Uthman ibn Affan, a wealthy merchant. This small group of followers laid the foundation of the nascent Muslim community. For the first 3 years, Muhammad's mission remained largely secret. The early Muslims gathered in private homes to pray and learn about their new faith, avoiding public attention to escape persecution. The Quranic revelations during this period emphasize the oneness of God, the day of judgment, and the moral responsibilities of individuals, challenging the polytheism and social injustices prevalent in Meccan society. In 613 CE, Muhammad received the divine command to begin preaching publicly. He first invited his extended family to a feast where he openly declared his prophethood, calling them to worship the one true God. This public declaration marked a turning point, bringing him into direct conflict with the Quraysh and the Meccan elite. While some were intrigued by his message, many of the Quraysh leaders saw Islam as a threat to their power and economic interests. The Kaaba, with its many idols, was a major source of wealth, drawing pilgrims and traders from across Arabia. As the number of converts grew, so did the hostility from the Quraysh. Early Muslims, especially those from weaker tribes and lower social standings, faced severe persecution. Bilal ibn Rabah, an Ethiopian slave, was brutally tortured for refusing to renounce his faith, but his defiant cry of Ahad Ahad, one, one, became a symbol of steadfastness. Sumayya bint Khayyat, another early convert, became Islam's first martyr after enduring relentless persecution. Despite the growing opposition, the small Muslim community's resolve remained strong. Muhammad found some protection under his uncle, Abu Talib, whose status as a respected elder of the Quraysh offered a degree of security. However, This protection came at a cost, as Abu Talib and his family faced social and economic boycotts. For 3 years, they endured immense hardship, but their faith did not waver. Eventually, the boycott was lifted, thanks to growing dissent within the Quraysh. Despite these challenges, the message of Islam continued to spread, and the community grew in strength. The early revelations and trials laid the foundation for the Islamic faith, guiding believers on a path of spiritual and moral integrity. The year 619 CE marked a particularly difficult period for Muhammad, known as the Year of Sorrow. Within a short span, he lost both his beloved wife, Khadijah, and his protective uncle, Abu Talib. These personal tragedies left Muhammad vulnerable, as his strongest sources of emotional and political support were gone. Without Abu Talib's protection, the Quraysh intensified their persecution, and Muhammad faced growing isolation within Mecca. Despite the increasing hostility, Muhammad's faith remained unshaken. Seeking new alliances, he traveled to the nearby town of Taif in search of support. However, his message was met with hostility, and he was driven out of the town by a mob, suffering physical abuse and humiliation. Although the rejection at Taif was a severe blow, Muhammad's resilience was evident in his response. Rather than seeking revenge, he prayed for mercy and guidance for the people of Taif. In the midst of these challenges, Muhammad experienced one of the most profound spiritual events of his life: the night journey and ascension, known as Hijra and Miraj. According to Islamic tradition, Muhammad was miraculously transported from the Kaaba in Mecca to the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem. From there, he ascended to the heavens, where he encountered various prophets and ultimately stood in the presence of God. During this celestial journey, he received instructions regarding the 5 daily prayers, which became a central practice in Islam. This extraordinary experience provided Muhammad with renewed strength and conviction, reminding him of his divine mission. As his message began to reach beyond Mecca, Muhammad's mission gained momentum. During the pilgrimage seasons of 620 and 621 CE, groups of men from Yathrib, later known as Medina, met with Muhammad and embraced Islam. These meetings, known as the first and second pledges of Aqaba, marked the beginning of a new phase in his mission. The people of Yathrib offered Muhammad and his followers a safe haven in their city, pledging their loyalty and support. With the situation in Mecca becoming increasingly untenable, Muhammad encouraged his followers to migrate to Yathrib, now Medina. This migration, known as the Hijra, was a significant turning point in Islamic history. In 622 CE, Muhammad, accompanied by his close companion Abu Bakr, undertook the perilous journey to Medina, narrowly escaping assassination attempts by the Quraysh. Upon their arrival, Muhammad was greeted with enthusiasm and respect by the city's inhabitants. The name of the city was officially changed to Medina, meaning the city of the Prophet. The Hijra marked the beginning of the Islamic calendar and the establishment of the first Muslim community. In Medina, Muhammad's role expanded from spiritual leader to political and social leader, as he worked to unify the diverse tribes and establish a cohesive society. One of his first actions was to draft the Constitution of Medina, a pioneering document that outlined the rights and responsibilities of all citizens, including Muslims, Jews, and other tribes. The Constitution emphasized mutual protection, religious freedom, and the resolution of disputes through arbitration, laying the foundation for a just and inclusive society. To foster unity among the Muslim migrants, Muhajirun, and the native converts of Medina, Ansar, Muhammad established a system of brotherhood. Each migrant was paired with a local, creating a bond of mutual support and shared resources. This initiative strengthened the sense of community and solidarity, ensuring that the new arrivals were integrated into the social fabric of Medina. The construction of the Prophet's Mosque, known as Masjid an-Nabawi, was another significant milestone. The mosque not only served as a place of worship, but also as a community center, school, and hub for social and political activities. It became the heart of the growing Muslim community, symbolizing the unity and collective spirit of the believers. In Medina, Muhammad implemented various social and economic reforms to address the needs of the community. He encouraged fair trade and honest business practices, and the concept of zakat, charitable giving, was institutionalized. Muslims were required to contribute a portion of their wealth to support the needy, thereby promoting social justice and reducing poverty. The revelations during this period also addressed issues related to family life, inheritance, and the rights and responsibilities of women, aiming to create a more equitable society. As the Muslim community in Medina grew stronger, tensions with the Quraysh in Mecca persisted. The Quraysh viewed Muhammad and his followers as a direct threat to their power and influence. In 624 CE, the conflict culminated in the Battle of Badr, the first major military encounter between the Muslims and the Quraysh. Although the Muslims were vastly outnumbered, their faith and determination led them to a decisive victory. This triumph boosted the morale of the Muslim community and confirmed their belief in divine assistance. The victory at Badr, however, did not put an end to the conflict. In 625 CE, the Quraysh sought revenge in the Battle of Uhud. Despite their earlier success, the Muslims faced a setback due to strategic errors. A group of archers, disobeying Muhammad's orders, left their posts in pursuit of spoils, allowing the Quraysh to launch a surprise attack. The Muslims suffered significant losses, and Muhammad himself was injured. The defeat at Uhud was a sobering reminder of the importance of discipline and unity, and the Quranic revelations that followed emphasized the need for perseverance and trust in God's plan. In 627 CE, the Quraysh, along with various allied tribes, launched a massive assault on Medina, leading to the Battle of the Trench. In response to the overwhelming threat, the Muslims, under the guidance of the Persian companion Salman al-Farsi, dug a trench around the city, which thwarted the Quraysh's advance. After weeks of siege, the Quraysh and their allies were forced to retreat, marking a significant psychological victory for the Muslims. This event demonstrated the resilience and strategic ingenuity of the Muslim community. In 628 CE, a diplomatic breakthrough occurred when Muhammad negotiated the Treaty of Hudaybiyah with the Quraysh. The treaty established a 10-year truce, allowing Muslims to perform the pilgrimage to Mecca the following year. Although the terms initially seemed to favor the Quraysh, the treaty provided a period of peace that allowed Islam to spread and the Muslim community to strengthen. Many saw the wisdom in Muhammad's peaceful approach, and the number of converts grew significantly. The peace, however, was short-lived. In 630 CE, the Quraysh violated the treaty by attacking a tribe allied with the Muslims. In response, Muhammad mobilized a large force and marched toward Mecca. The Quraysh, realizing their precarious position, surrendered without bloodshed. Muhammad entered Mecca in a spirit of mercy and forgiveness, declaring a general amnesty for his former enemies. His acts of clemency won the hearts of many Meccans, leading to mass conversions to Islam. One of his first actions upon entering the city was to cleanse the Kaaba of its idols, restoring it as a center of monotheistic worship. The conquest of Mecca marked the culmination of Muhammad's mission. With the tribes of Arabia now united under Islam, Muhammad performed his final pilgrimage in 632 CE, delivering a farewell sermon that encapsulated the core principles of the faith. He emphasized the equality of all believers, the sanctity of life and property, and the importance of adhering to the Quran and his teachings. Shortly after, Muhammad passed away, leaving behind a legacy that would continue to guide and inspire generations of Muslims. The preservation of the Quran was of utmost importance to the early Muslim community. During Muhammad's lifetime, the Quran was memorized and written down by his companions. After his passing, the need for a compiled text became evident, especially following the Battle of Yamama, where many of those who had memorized the Quran were martyred. Under the caliphate of Abu Bakr, a committee led by Zayd ibn Thabit was tasked with compiling the Quran into a single, authoritative text. This compilation was later standardized during the caliphate of Uthman ibn Affan, ensuring the Quran's preservation for future generations. Today, the Quran remains a central part of Muslim life, serving as a spiritual guide and source of wisdom. Its teachings on justice, compassion, and moral integrity continue to inspire individuals and shape societies. Through the centuries, the Quran's message has transcended time and place, offering a path of righteousness and peace to all who seek its guidance. The Quran's influence extended far beyond its early followers, shaping the spiritual, cultural, and intellectual framework of the Islamic world. As the Quran became more widely studied and memorized, it also inspired advancements in various fields such as science, literature, art, and governance. The profound teachings within the Quran encouraged early Muslims to engage deeply with the world around them, seeking knowledge, justice, and moral excellence in all aspects of life. One of the Quran's central themes is the oneness of God, or Tawheed, which emphasizes that there is no deity but Allah. This concept not only defines the spiritual foundation of Islam, but also informs the ethical and social principles that guide Muslims in their everyday lives. The Quran promotes a vision of life that is deeply intertwined with justice, compassion, and accountability, urging believers to uphold the rights of others, care for the needy, and live in harmony with the natural world. The Quran's moral teachings resonate strongly in its call for justice and fairness. It condemns practices like usury, bribery, and oppression, while urging kindness toward orphans, the poor, and the marginalized. In particular, the Quranic mandate to give zakat, a form of almsgiving, institutionalized charity as a key pillar of the Islamic faith. This concept of wealth redistribution aimed to alleviate poverty and build a society where resources were shared for the collective good. Another vital aspect of the Quran is its emphasis on the dignity and rights of women. In a time and culture where women were often marginalized, the Quran introduced groundbreaking reforms that granted women rights in marriage, inheritance, and personal autonomy. It emphasized the equality of men and women in the eyes of God, as both are judged based on their deeds and character, not their gender. The Quran also outlined the responsibilities of men and women within family life, promoting mutual respect, kindness, and fairness. The Quran's influence on law and governance is also significant. Its teachings provided the foundation for Sharia, or Islamic law, which governs personal conduct, family matters, and social relations. The Quran offers detailed guidance on issues such as marriage, divorce, inheritance, and economic transactions. It emphasizes the importance of honesty, fairness, and integrity in all dealings, laying the groundwork for a just and ethical society. Beyond its legal and social instructions, the Quran encourages a deep engagement with the world through knowledge and reflection. The first word revealed to Muhammad was Iqra, read, underscoring the importance of learning and intellectual development in Islam. The Quran encourages believers to observe the natural world, reflect on its signs, and seek understanding of the universe as a means of recognizing God's greatness. This emphasis on knowledge inspired the flourishing of learning during the Islamic Golden Age, when Muslim scholars made significant contributions to fields such as mathematics, astronomy, medicine, and philosophy. The Quran's influence on art and culture is particularly evident in the development of Islamic calligraphy. Since the Quran was revealed in Arabic, the language and script became highly revered. Over time, the act of writing Quranic verses evolved into an art form, with intricate calligraphy adorning mosques, manuscripts, and monuments. This reverence for the written word also influenced architecture, with Quranic inscriptions often integrated into the design of mosques and other religious buildings. These artistic expressions of the Quran's message symbolize the deep spiritual and cultural connection Muslims feel toward the text. The Quran's teachings have not only shaped individual lives, but also played a significant role in fostering community bonds and promoting social justice. Its emphasis on the concept of the ummah, or community, stresses the importance of unity, brotherhood, and collective responsibility. The early Muslim community in Medina is a prime example of these values in action. By creating a society based on mutual respect, shared resources, and justice for all, Muhammad demonstrated how the Quran's principles could be applied to build a harmonious and equitable society. As Islam expanded beyond the Arabian Peninsula, the Quran continued to guide new communities and adapt to diverse cultural contexts. The spread of Islam through trade, diplomacy, and conquest introduced the Quran's teachings to regions as far-flung as Africa, Asia, and Europe. Islamic civilization thrived, with the Quran serving as a unifying force that transcended linguistic, ethnic, and geographic boundaries. In every society it touched, the Quran brought a message of monotheism, moral accountability, and social justice. Throughout history, the Quran has inspired movements for reform and renewal within the Islamic world. At times of moral decay or social injustice, Muslim scholars and leaders have turned to the Quran to call for a return to its core values. These reform movements emphasize the Quran's teachings on justice, equality, and compassion, seeking to revive the ethical and spiritual vitality of Muslim societies. The Quran's timeless message continues to offer guidance on addressing contemporary challenges, from human rights to environmental sustainability. In modern times, the Quran remains a powerful source of inspiration for Muslims around the world. It offers solace in times of hardship, guidance in times of uncertainty, and a roadmap for living a life of purpose and virtue. The practice of memorizing and reciting the Quran, known as hifz, is deeply cherished in Muslim communities. Those who commit the entire Quran to memory, known as hafiz, are held in high esteem, and the recitation of Quranic verses during daily prayers provides spiritual nourishment for believers. The advent of digital technology has made the Quran more accessible than ever before. Online platforms, apps, and digital Quran resources allow Muslims to engage with the text in new ways, from studying tafsir, interpretation, to joining virtual Quran study circles. These advancements have also enabled non-Muslims to explore the Quran's teachings, fostering greater understanding and dialogue between different faith communities. The Quran's relevance today extends beyond religious practice. Its principles of justice, equality, and stewardship of the earth offer a framework for addressing many of the global challenges we face, including poverty, inequality, and climate change. The Quran's call for responsible stewardship encourages Muslims to care for the environment and use resources wisely, a message that resonates strongly in the context of modern environmental movements. Interfaith dialogue has also been enriched by the Quran's emphasis on mutual respect and understanding. Verses such as, "There is no compulsion in religion," 2.256, highlight the importance of religious freedom and tolerance. These principles have inspired efforts to bridge divides between Muslims and people of other faiths, promoting peace and cooperation in increasingly pluralistic societies. As we reflect on the Quran's legacy, it is clear that its message continues to inspire and challenge humanity. Its teachings transcend time and place, offering a path of righteousness, peace, and justice for those who seek it. From its early revelations in the cave of Hijra to its enduring influence on global civilization, the Quran remains a beacon of divine guidance, shaping the lives of millions and guiding communities toward a future rooted in faith, compassion, and justice. The Quran's rich history, profound teachings, and lasting impact on individuals and societies demonstrate its timeless relevance. It is more than a scripture, it is a living guide that continues to inspire spiritual growth, social reform, and intellectual advancement. As we conclude this exploration, we are reminded of the Quran's ability to challenge, inspire, and guide humanity toward a path of righteousness and peace. Its message, rooted in divine wisdom, offers hope and direction for building a better future for all. The Quran's profound message continues to resonate with millions around the globe, shaping the lives of individuals and communities alike. As we delve deeper into its influence, we see that the Quran is not just a guide for spiritual matters, but a comprehensive manual for ethical living, personal development, social harmony, and global peace. Its timeless principles have made it relevant across generations, providing insight and direction on a wide range of topics that are essential to human life. One of the most striking features of the Quran is its emphasis on personal responsibility and moral accountability. The Quran continually reminds believers that their actions have consequences, both in this life and the hereafter. It teaches that individuals are accountable for their deeds and that every person must strive for righteousness, truth, and justice. The Quranic concept of taqwa, or God consciousness, is central to this moral framework. It encourages believers to be mindful of God in all their actions, leading to a life of integrity, honesty, and compassion. The Quran's moral teachings extend to every aspect of life, including family, society, and governance. It outlines detailed guidance on maintaining strong family ties, treating others with kindness, and upholding justice. These values are not presented as abstract ideals, but as practical principles to be implemented in daily life. For instance, the Quran speaks extensively about the importance of caring for parents, raising children with love and discipline, and ensuring fairness in marital relationships. By focusing on the family unit as the foundation of society, the Quran establishes a framework for nurturing healthy and compassionate communities. Another key principle in the Quran is the emphasis on social justice. The Quran consistently advocates for the protection of the weak, the vulnerable, and the marginalized. It calls on believers to support orphans, the poor, and those who are oppressed. In many verses, the Quran instructs Muslims to be generous with their wealth and resources, encouraging acts of charity and kindness. The institution of zakat, almsgiving, ensures that wealth is distributed in a way that supports those in need and reduces economic inequality. The Quran also warns against hoarding wealth, usury, and exploitation, urging believers to adopt ethical financial practices. Justice in the Quran is not limited to the legal realm. It extends to every relationship and interaction. The Quran calls for fairness in trade, honesty in business dealings, and equality in social interactions. It condemns all forms of injustice, including fraud, bribery, and corruption, and stresses the importance of upholding truth, even when it may be against one's own interests. The Quran's message of justice is universal, transcending race, class, and nationality. It seeks to create a society where every individual is treated with dignity and respect, regardless of their background. One of the most powerful ways the Quran inspires justice is through its teachings on equality and human rights. The Quran upholds the intrinsic dignity of all human beings, regardless of their gender, race, or social status. It declares that all people are equal in the sight of God, with their value determined by their piety and righteous actions. This concept of equality is particularly emphasized in the Quran's teachings about women. The Quran granted women rights and protections that were revolutionary for the time, including rights to inheritance, education, and independent ownership of property. It also places great importance on the kind and respectful treatment of women in marriage and family life, calling for mutual compassion and understanding between spouses. Environmental stewardship is another significant theme in the Quran. The text encourages Muslims to act as caretakers of the earth, promoting a deep sense of responsibility for the natural world. The Quran highlights the signs of God's creation in nature and urges believers to reflect on the beauty and balance found in the natural order. It warns against wastefulness and excess, promoting moderation in consumption and the careful use of resources. These teachings are particularly relevant today as the world grapples with environmental crises such as climate change, deforestation, and resource depletion. The Quran's message of sustainability and stewardship can offer valuable insights into addressing these global challenges. The Quran's emphasis on knowledge and reason has also had a lasting impact on Islamic civilization and beyond. Throughout history, the Quran has inspired generations of scholars, scientists, and thinkers to seek knowledge and wisdom. The Islamic Golden Age, spanning from the 8th to the 14th century, saw remarkable advancements in fields such as medicine, astronomy, mathematics, and philosophy, many of which were influenced by the Quran's encouragement of learning and intellectual exploration. The Quran repeatedly calls on believers to observe the world around them, reflect on its signs, and pursue knowledge as a means of understanding the greatness of God. This intellectual tradition continues to inspire modern scientific and philosophical inquiry within and beyond the Muslim world. The Quran's role in promoting peace and understanding cannot be overstated. At its core, the Quran is a book of guidance that seeks to bring humanity closer to peace, both internally and externally. It teaches the importance of resolving conflicts through dialogue, negotiation, and forgiveness. The Quran also emphasizes the value of patience, tolerance, and compassion, encouraging believers to forgive those who wrong them and seek peaceful solutions to disputes. In a world often divided by conflict and strife, the Quran's teachings on peace offer a powerful message of reconciliation and unity. Interfaith dialogue is another area where the Quran's teachings have had a profound influence. The Quran acknowledges the diversity of religious traditions and calls for respectful dialogue between people of different faiths. It teaches that there should be no compulsion in religion, and that every individual is free to choose their path. The Quran encourages Muslims to engage with people of other faiths through wisdom and good conduct, fostering mutual understanding and cooperation. This message of interfaith respect has been foundational in building bridges between Muslims and people of other faiths, promoting a spirit of coexistence and collaboration. In modern times, the accessibility of the Quran has been greatly enhanced through technological advancements. Digital platforms, apps, and online resources have made it easier for Muslims to engage with the Quran in new ways. Virtual study groups, online tafsir, interpretation, and Quranic apps have become popular tools for learning and reflection, allowing believers to deepen their understanding of the text in a globalized and interconnected world. This digital revolution has also enabled non-Muslims to explore the Quran's teachings, fostering greater awareness and appreciation of Islam's message. As the world continues to face complex challenges, from social inequality to environmental degradation, the Quran's timeless guidance remains as relevant as ever. Its principles of justice, compassion, and stewardship offer valuable insights into addressing these issues in ways that promote peace, harmony, and sustainability. The Quran's call for ethical living, its focus on moral responsibility, and its vision of a just society provide a roadmap for building a more equitable and compassionate world. The Quran's legacy is vast, encompassing not only religious and spiritual teachings, but also a comprehensive guide for ethical living and societal reform. It has shaped civilizations, inspired movements for social justice, and continues to offer hope and direction for millions around the world. The Quran's message is not confined to any particular time or place. It is a living guide that continues to inspire and challenge humanity toward a future of righteousness, peace, and justice. In conclusion, the Quran stands as a beacon of divine wisdom, offering guidance on every aspect of life. From its early revelations in Mecca to its enduring influence on global civilization, the Quran has been a source of spiritual growth, intellectual advancement, and social reform. Its teachings on justice, compassion, and human dignity continue to resonate with individuals and societies, providing a timeless framework for addressing the challenges of the modern world. The Quran's profound message of peace, unity, and ethical responsibility remains as relevant today as it was over a millennium ago, offering a path toward a more just and harmonious world for all who seek its guidance. The Quran, as a divine revelation, continues to be a source of profound spiritual and moral insight for Muslims around the globe. Its teachings extend beyond the immediate concerns of individual salvation, encompassing guidance for the development of a fair, harmonious, and just society. This universal appeal has allowed the Quran to remain deeply influential, both within the Islamic world and in interfaith dialogues. Its capacity to guide humanity toward a deeper understanding of purpose, ethics, and peace ensures that its relevance will endure for generations to come. At the heart of the Quran is the concept of Tawheed, the oneness of God, which forms the foundation of Islamic theology and ethics. This principle underscores the unity and interconnection of all aspects of existence under God's dominion. Tawheed encourages believers to live their lives with a constant awareness of God's presence and to align their actions with divine will. This alignment fosters a sense of personal accountability, leading individuals to conduct their lives with integrity, sincerity, and mindfulness. By establishing this profound relationship between the Creator and the creation, the Quran provides a framework for ethical behavior that transcends mere ritual and touches every aspect of human life. In addition to promoting personal piety, the Quran emphasizes the importance of building a socially just and compassionate society. Its teachings on social justice are some of the most powerful in religious literature, focusing on the need to protect the rights of the weak and vulnerable. The Quran repeatedly calls on believers to fight against oppression, injustice, and exploitation. It condemns practices that harm others, such as cheating, hoarding wealth, and exploiting the poor. Through its vivid descriptions of the afterlife and divine judgment, the Quran reinforces the idea that each individual will be held accountable for their actions, particularly in how they treat others. The Quran's insistence on justice extends to economic and social matters, ensuring that wealth and resources are shared fairly among all members of society. It advocates for the establishment of economic systems that prioritize equity and the well-being of all, particularly those who are disadvantaged. For example, the institution of zakat ensures that wealth is redistributed to support the poor and needy. This form of obligatory charity is not simply an act of generosity. It is a moral and religious duty that fosters social cohesion and mitigates the extremes of poverty and wealth. The Quran also emphasizes fair business practices, advocating for transparency, honesty, and mutual benefit in economic transactions. Family life, which is regarded as the cornerstone of Islamic society, is given special emphasis in the Quran. The Quran offers detailed guidance on marriage, parenting, and family responsibilities, highlighting the importance of love, respect, and mutual support. In marriage, the Quran teaches that both spouses have rights and duties toward one another, stressing the importance of partnership and mutual respect. The notion of a balanced and harmonious family life is seen as a microcosm of a just society, where individuals fulfill their roles with compassion and responsibility. Parenting is also a central focus of the Quran's ethical teachings. Parents are entrusted with the moral and spiritual development of their children, and the Quran stresses the importance of raising children with love, care, and discipline. The nurturing of future generations is viewed as a sacred duty, and parents are encouraged to instill values of faith, compassion, and righteousness in their children. At the same time, the Quran commands children to honor and respect their parents, recognizing the reciprocal nature of familial obligations. One of the most transformative aspects of the Quran is its recognition of the equality and dignity of all human beings. In a world where social hierarchies and discrimination were prevalent, the Quran's message of equality was revolutionary. It declares that all people, regardless of their race, gender, or social status, are equal in the sight of God. The Quran's teachings on gender equality, in particular, marked a significant shift in the rights and status of women. It granted women rights in areas such as inheritance, property ownership, education, and participation in social and political life. The Quran also called for the fair treatment of women within marriage and family life, stressing that men and women are partners, not adversaries, in building a moral and ethical society. The Quran's approach to gender issues reflects its broader commitment to justice and fairness in all aspects of life. It challenges oppressive practices and promotes the empowerment of individuals, ensuring that everyone has the opportunity to live a dignified and fulfilling life. By advocating for the rights of women, orphans, and the poor, the Quran helped to create a society where everyone is valued and protected under the law. Moreover, the Quran's teachings on forgiveness and mercy are deeply intertwined with its message of justice. While the Quran calls for accountability and the upholding of justice, it also places a great emphasis on mercy and compassion. Believers are encouraged to forgive those who wrong them, to seek reconciliation in times of conflict, and to act with kindness even toward those who may have harmed them. This principle is not limited to personal relationships, but extends to broader societal issues, advocating for restorative justice over punitive measures whenever possible. This emphasis on mercy reflects the Quran's vision of a compassionate society where peace and reconciliation are prioritized over retribution. In addition to its ethical teachings, the Quran provides profound guidance on environmental stewardship. The Quran frequently refers to the natural world as a sign of God's creative power and wisdom, encouraging believers to reflect on the beauty and complexity of creation. The earth and all its resources are seen as a trust from God, and humans are appointed as stewards, khalifa, responsible for preserving and protecting the environment. The Quran warns against wastefulness and excess, promoting moderation and balance in the use of natural resources. In today's context of environmental degradation and climate change, the Quran's call for environmental responsibility is especially relevant, offering a framework for sustainable living that aligns with ethical and spiritual values. The Quran also fosters a deep respect for knowledge and intellectual inquiry. From its very first revelation, which commanded, "Read in the name of your Lord who created," the Quran places a strong emphasis on learning, reflection, and the pursuit of knowledge. The Quran encourages believers to seek understanding of the world around them, to contemplate the signs of God in nature, and to use reason to engage with divine revelation. This emphasis on knowledge has had a profound influence on Islamic civilization, particularly during the Islamic Golden Age, when scholars and thinkers made significant contributions to fields such as science, mathematics, medicine, and philosophy. This intellectual tradition, rooted in the Quran, continues to inspire modern scholarship and innovation. The Quran's vision for a just and harmonious society extends to the realm of governance. While the Quran does not prescribe a specific political system, it offers principles that should guide leadership and governance. It emphasizes the importance of justice, consultation, shura, and the rule of law. Leaders are entrusted with the responsibility of ensuring the welfare of their people, upholding justice, and protecting the rights of all citizens. The Quran also encourages transparency and accountability in leadership, warning against corruption and the abuse of power. These principles of ethical governance remain relevant in contemporary discussions on democracy, human rights, and social justice. In the realm of interfaith relations, the Quran promotes a spirit of tolerance, dialogue, and mutual respect. It acknowledges the diversity of religious traditions and encourages peaceful coexistence between people of different faiths. The Quran's verse, "There is no compulsion in religion," 2:256, highlights the importance of religious freedom and the respect for individual choices. Throughout its teachings, the Quran calls for wisdom and kindness in interactions with others, promoting understanding and cooperation across religious and cultural divides. This message has been instrumental in fostering interfaith dialogue and promoting peace between different communities. In today's globalized world, the Quran's message of peace, justice, and compassion offers a powerful antidote to the challenges of division, inequality, and conflict. Its teachings provide a roadmap for creating a world where people of different backgrounds and beliefs can live together in harmony, united by shared values of respect, kindness, and justice. As we reflect on the Quran's legacy, it is clear that its influence transcends time and place. It remains a living guide for millions of people, offering wisdom on how to navigate the complexities of life with faith, integrity, and compassion. Whether addressing issues of social justice, gender equality, environmental stewardship, or interfaith relations. The Quran's teachings continue to inspire individuals and communities to strive for a better, more just, and peaceful world. The enduring relevance of the Quran is a testament to its divine origin and its ability to speak to the deepest needs of humanity. It provides a comprehensive framework for ethical living, spiritual growth, and societal reform, making it one of the most transformative texts in history. Through its message of unity, justice, and mercy, the Quran continues to guide humanity toward a future grounded in righteousness, peace, and the shared values of dignity and respect for all. The Quran's role in shaping the ethical, spiritual, and intellectual foundations of Islamic civilization remains unparalleled. Its guidance transcends personal spirituality, touching upon every aspect of life: social, political, economic, and environmental. Through its teachings, the Quran invites humanity to seek not only personal salvation, but also to contribute to the betterment of society and the world at large. Its ability to offer solutions to contemporary challenges, grounded in timeless wisdom, makes it a living and dynamic source of guidance for Muslims and others seeking meaning in a complex world. One of the central pillars of the Quran's message is its call to social justice. This concept is not just a theoretical ideal, but a practical imperative embedded in the everyday lives of believers. Justice, or ADL, is portrayed in the Quran as a fundamental principle of the universe, created and sustained by God. Humans are entrusted with the responsibility to maintain this balance by ensuring fairness in their dealings and striving to rectify wrongs when they occur. The Quranic injunction to stand firm for justice, even if it is against yourselves or your own kin, 4:135, exemplifies the depth of this commitment. It calls for a moral courage that transcends personal bias and self-interest, urging individuals to uphold truth and fairness, regardless of the consequences. This profound sense of justice extends into all facets of life, from family dynamics to economic transactions, and from governance to the environment. In the Quran, justice is not merely a legal or societal obligation. It is an act of worship, deeply intertwined with the believer's relationship with God. Upholding justice is seen as a path to both spiritual fulfillment and social harmony, fostering a community where the dignity of every individual is respected and protected. The Quran's teachings on economic justice are particularly relevant in addressing modern concerns about inequality and poverty. In a world where wealth is often concentrated in the hands of a few, leaving many in destitution, the Quran offers a blueprint for a more equitable distribution of resources. It condemns the hoarding of wealth and the exploitation of the vulnerable, emphasizing that wealth is a trust from God, meant to be shared for the common good. The institution of zakat, one of the 5 pillars of Islam, institutionalizes this principle by mandating that Muslims donate a portion of their wealth to those in need. This obligatory form of charity ensures a redistribution of resources that uplifts the marginalized and alleviates poverty, fostering economic balance and social cohesion. Beyond zakat, the Quran encourages voluntary charity, or sadaqah, as a means of purifying one's wealth and gaining spiritual rewards. In fact, the Quran emphasizes that true righteousness lies in the willingness to give generously, out of love for God, to relatives, orphans, the needy, and travelers, 2:177. This ethic of generosity extends to all people, regardless of their faith, emphasizing the universal nature of the Quran's message of compassion. Moreover, the Quran promotes ethical business practices and fair trade, principles that resonate deeply in today's globalized economy. It instructs Muslims to avoid deceit, fraud, and interest-based transactions, riba, which can exploit the poor and lead to social injustice. Instead, it advocates for transparent, honest, and equitable financial dealings that benefit all parties involved. By offering a moral framework for economic activity, the Quran seeks to create a just economy that prioritizes human dignity over profit. The Quran's emphasis on family as the cornerstone of society further underscores its holistic vision of justice. It provides detailed guidance on family life, including marriage, parenting, and the rights and responsibilities of each family member. Marriage in Islam is seen as a partnership based on love, mercy, and mutual respect, and the Quran calls for spouses to treat each other with kindness and care. It also stresses the importance of fairness in divorce, ensuring that both parties are treated with dignity and that the rights of women are protected. In a time when women's rights were often neglected, the Quran introduced significant reforms that granted women the right to inherit property, manage their finances, and participate fully in society. Parenting is another critical area where the Quran's ethical teachings come into play. It places a strong emphasis on the responsibility of parents to raise their children with love, wisdom, and discipline, ensuring their moral and spiritual development. At the same time, the Quran commands children to honor and respect their parents, highlighting the reciprocal nature of family obligations. These teachings promote a balanced family life, where each member fulfills their role with compassion and responsibility, creating a nurturing environment that reflects the Quran's vision of a just and harmonious society. The Quran's recognition of the dignity and equality of all human beings is a cornerstone of its moral vision. It affirms that all people, regardless of their race, ethnicity, or social status, are equal in the sight of God. This concept of human equality is powerfully expressed in the verse, "O mankind, we have created you from a male and a female, and made you into nations and tribes, that you may know one another. Verily, the most honorable of you in the sight of God is the one who is most pious." 49:13. This message not only promotes equality, but also encourages mutual respect and understanding among diverse communities, laying the foundation for a more inclusive and peaceful world. This commitment to human dignity extends to the Quran's teachings on women's rights. The Quran introduced transformative changes in a society where women were often treated as property or marginalized. It granted women the right to own and inherit property, to participate in business, and to seek education. In marriage, the Quran emphasized that women must be treated with respect and fairness, and it prohibited harmful practices like female infanticide. It also outlined the responsibilities of both men and women in family life, advocating for a partnership based on mutual support and compassion. The Quran's approach to gender equality has had a lasting impact on the rights and status of women within Islamic society. While cultural practices have sometimes overshadowed these teachings, the Quran remains a source of empowerment for women, encouraging them to pursue their rights and contribute meaningfully to their communities. Today, many Muslim women draw upon the Quran's teachings as they advocate for gender justice and work to challenge patriarchal norms that conflict with Islamic values. Environmental stewardship is another area where the Quran offers profound guidance, particularly relevant in the context of the global environmental crisis. The Quran consistently reminds believers of their role as stewards of the earth, entrusted by God to care for creation. It teaches that the natural world is a sign of God's power and wisdom, and humans are commanded to protect and preserve it. The Quran condemns wastefulness and excess, encouraging moderation and balance in the use of resources. In an era of climate change, pollution, and environmental degradation, the Quran's call for sustainability and responsible stewardship provides a moral framework for addressing these pressing issues. The Quran's teachings on environmental ethics extend to both individual behavior and broader societal responsibility. It calls for a respect for nature that goes beyond utility, recognizing the intrinsic value of all living beings. The Quran describes the earth, water, plants, and animals as part of God's creation, each with its own purpose and role in the balance of life. By promoting a holistic view of the environment, the Quran fosters an ethic of care and sustainability that can guide efforts to combat environmental degradation and promote ecological harmony. Knowledge and intellectual inquiry are also central to the Quran's vision for humanity. From its very first revelation, which commands, "Read in the name of your Lord who created," 96:1. The Quran emphasizes the importance of learning and seeking knowledge. This call to intellectual engagement has fueled a rich tradition of scholarship within the Islamic world, inspiring advancements in fields as diverse as science, mathematics, medicine, philosophy, and art. The Quran encourages believers to reflect on the natural world, to question, to think critically, and to pursue wisdom as a means of understanding both the material and spiritual realms. During the Islamic Golden Age, scholars built upon this Quranic foundation to make groundbreaking contributions to human knowledge. Figures such as Ibn Sina, Avicenna, Al-Khwarizmi, and Al-Razi played pivotal roles in advancing medicine, mathematics, astronomy, and chemistry, laying the groundwork for many modern scientific disciplines. These scholars viewed their intellectual pursuits as acts of worship, inspired by the Quran's encouragement to explore the wonders of creation and to seek truth in all things. The Quran's emphasis on knowledge continues to inspire contemporary Muslim scholars and scientists. In today's world, where information is abundant, but wisdom often lacking, the Quran's call for thoughtful reflection and reasoned inquiry remains deeply relevant. It encourages believers to approach the world with curiosity and humility, recognizing the limits of human understanding while striving to expand it in service to God and humanity. In the realm of governance, the Quran provides principles for leadership and justice that continue to inform contemporary debates on democracy, human rights, and the rule of law. While the Quran does not prescribe a specific political system, it offers ethical guidelines for governance, emphasizing justice, accountability, and the protection of the common good. Leaders are entrusted with the responsibility to serve their communities, ensuring fairness and upholding the rights of all citizens. The Quran also promotes the principle of consultation, shura, advocating for inclusive decision-making processes that reflect the will and welfare of the people. In a modern context, these principles resonate with democratic ideals, emphasizing the need for transparent and accountable governance. The Quran's warnings against corruption, abuse of power, and oppression offer a powerful critique of unjust political systems and a vision for a more ethical and participatory form of governance. Finally, the Quran's teachings on peace and interfaith dialogue are particularly significant in today's globalized world. At a time when divisions between religious and cultural groups often lead to conflict, the Quran's call for mutual respect, understanding, and dialogue offers a path toward reconciliation and coexistence. It encourages Muslims to engage with people of other faiths in a spirit of wisdom and kindness, promoting peaceful relations and shared values. The Quran's verse, "There is no compulsion in religion," 2256, highlights the importance of religious freedom and the respect for individual beliefs, laying the foundation for interfaith harmony. This commitment to peace and dialogue has inspired many interfaith initiatives aimed at building bridges between Muslims and people of other faiths. Through these efforts, the Quran's message of tolerance and understanding continues to foster cooperation and unity in an increasingly diverse and interconnected world. As we reflect on the Quran's legacy, it becomes clear that its teachings offer a comprehensive framework for personal, social, and global transformation. Its emphasis on justice, compassion, equality, and knowledge provides guidance for navigating the complexities of modern life while remaining rooted in timeless ethical principles. The Quran continues to inspire individuals and communities to strive for a world grounded in peace, righteousness, and the dignity of all human beings. The Quran is not just a religious text, it is a profound guide to living a life of purpose, integrity, and justice. Its teachings transcend time and place, offering wisdom for both personal growth and societal reform. Whether addressing the needs of individuals, families, or entire nations, the Quran provides a blueprint for creating a just and compassionate world, where the rights of all are upheld, the environment is protected, and peace and understanding prevail. Its enduring relevance and transformative power ensure that it will continue to guide humanity for generations to come, lighting the path toward a future of righteousness, peace, and unity for all. The Quran stands as a timeless guide, offering wisdom and guidance for every aspect of life. Its teachings on justice, compassion, and unity continue to inspire individuals and communities to seek righteousness, peace, and understanding. As we navigate the complexities of the modern world, the Quran remains a beacon of light, guiding us toward a future rooted in faith, integrity, and the shared values of humanity. May its message continue to resonate, fostering a world of harmony, dignity, and justice for all.